The White House, the Trump administration more broadly, appears to be in a kind of rattly phase. They appear to be in an even more chaotic state than usual. There have been ethics troubles in this administration from the very beginning. Some of today's wobbles appear to be the inevitable product of law enforcement and investigatory pressure on ethically challenged high-ranking individuals, including those who are now facing either criminal investigation or flat-out indictment in the case of this EPA official. So some of it, I think, is driven by the way ethics scandals tend to end up, which is not good for the ethically challenged official. A lot of this, though, appears to be driven by the political pressure that the White House is newly under in the wake of last week's elections results. Tonight marks 1 week since the polls closed in the midterms. The scale of the Democratic Party's victory in last week's election is still coming into focus 1 week later as vote tallies get certified and close elections get called and recounts get fought over. The turnout in this year's midterm elections appears to have been the highest midterm election turnout in more than a century. The percentage of the popular vote by which Democrats won congressional seats around the country appears to be even higher than the popular vote percentage that gave Republicans their massive landslide win in 2010, which President Obama famously called a shellacking. Democrats did better in terms of the popular vote this year in 2018 than Republicans did in the shellacking year of 2010. Democrats appear on track to gain 37, if not 38 seats in the House of Representatives in these elections, which would be their largest congressional gains in a midterm election since the immediate aftermath of Watergate, right after Richard Nixon resigned. In the Georgia governor's race and in the Florida governor and Senate races, what appeared on election night to be Republican wins, those are now turning into full-blown ballot-to-ballot battles in both states, including in the courts, where today the big development was a federal court judge ordering delay of the certification of the vote totals in Georgia, which is what the Stacey Abrams campaign has been fighting for, because they say not every vote has been counted, and what they want is for every vote to be counted. So there's a lot going on right now in the news. There's a lot of pressure on this White House and this administration, and from everything we have seen thus far, this is a president who does not handle pressure particularly well. To the extent that his political fortunes and his legal jeopardy are tied up into one great double helix of a story right now, the president's firing of Jeff Sessions in the immediate aftermath of last week's elections, his effort to put in charge of federal law enforcement in the entire U.S. Justice Department a random loyalist who was never approved by the Senate, I think ultimately this may be seen, when we look back on it someday, as the president's big Hail Mary pass at this point in his term in office. His one big, desperate, probably won't work effort to try to fix all of his problems all at once by trying to fix law enforcement so that it starts to help him out instead of continuing to threaten both him and senior members of his administration. Hail Mary passes occasionally do work, right? That's why it's still a play that people try in football. There are reasons, though, tonight to think that this one is probably not going to work,